Hello, Education 305. Here is your really quick version of digital literacy. Digital literacy is related a little bit to digital citizenship, but it's all about the fake news. It's about how do we recognize scams, fake news, phishing, other things that are happening on the internet. It's important to us as future educators because we have to train our students how to effectively select and utilize media on the internet. Now, in my day, when I was growing up, back in the 1970s, this was our version of fake news. And hopefully you can notice the fake parts of it. Those of you that don't know, there is no such animal as a jackalope right there. Jackrabbits do not grow that large, and even though I would like to catch a trout that size, it just doesn't happen. Fake, fake, fake. Here's a modern day version of fake news, or is it? This about, 6 months ago or so, when they announced that all missionaries would be able to communicate with their families online. A lot of people were like, is this fake news? Is this fake? Are they really going to let missionaries communicate every week via video chats? It was a big change, and a lot of people wondered if it was real or not. Here's another great example of fake news. This is an old postcard from 1908. Fake news or attempts to fake people out have been around for a long, long time, and they often appear in very reputable sources. For instance, if you look at this photo that was in the Deseret News, you'll know what's fake about it. If you haven't picked it out, the temple does not sit right there. Someone has superimposed that temple, but I found it really interesting that a reputable news source such as Deseret News actually printed that, even though this is the actual photo from the groundbreaking ceremonies here at BYU Hawaii. Well, fake news has been around a long time. You can go to the slides on Canvas and take a closer look at some of these early attempts at fake news, starting all the way back at 63 BC, even before Christ was born. Of course, I kind of think the first fake news we ever saw on the earth was Satan in the Garden of Eden, trying to spread some fake news around. But it's certainly entertaining at times. This is an entertaining email that went through back in the early days of digital photography. And if you would like to find out more about, is this real? Did this shark really attack this helicopter? You can go watch that video. I'm not going to show it to you here. But on the slideshow on Canvas, you can go actually link and watch that video. There's all sorts of other examples of fake news. I don't know if anyone's heard of the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, but you can go check out this website. It has fooled a lot of people, by the way. This is one of my favorite fake news sites, the dangers of dihydrogen monoxide. Dihydrogen monoxide is H2O, by the way. This is a fun website to go look around. But what I'm trying to get to you is it's really easy to put fake news out there. And it's even harder to recognize it. A lot of people may look at a website like this one, The Onion, and go, wow, I wonder. But then if you are informed, you understand that The Onion website is actually a website that all they do is do fake news. So just some fun things to think about. Here's another famous fake news story, Hogzilla. All of these you can go read about them. You might want to go read more about this, about what the real story behind Hogzilla is. You'll find out that the hog isn't as big as it looks. Here's one of my favorite. You need to go watch this video clip. This is a BYU Idaho devotional from October 2019. Elder Gerard talks about fake news. And he actually shows a fake video clip of President Eyring, President Eyring's son, who is the president of BYU Idaho. They did a fake news video for his devotional. Really kind of fun and interesting to think about. But a kind of a gospel perspective, too, on fake news. All right, so fake news, fake news, fake news. It's important for us to know how to recognize it and to know how to tell our kids about it, because as this study shows, we are losing our ability to kind of distinguish truth and fake. Kind of the same way the world is having that problem morally and in lots of other ways. So when we look at fake news, here's a great way to look at it. Here are 10 categories of fake news, 10 types of fake misleading news, and this chart is interesting. You can go read more about it online. I have this linked in the slides in Canvas. But the impact that certain media has, for instance, if it's green, really doesn't have much of an impact. Like propaganda doesn't have much of an impact. Let's see, the hand here means that it's driven by passion, and the shield here means that politics and power are a main influence or motivation. Whereas something that has a high impact, let's just take a look at straight up fake bogus news. It's motivated sometimes by politics and power and sometimes by money. Let's take a look at each one of these 10 individually here. Fake news, just straight up fake news, made up. Could be because people want to earn money from it. Maybe they just want the exposure. Maybe it's some sort of political motivation. We certainly have a lot of this going on, and certainly a lot of accusations of fabricated news stories out there. In fact, I think it's one of President Trump's favorite terms. Oh, that's fake news. They're spreading the fake news. There's satire. This is like the Onion website, where they're trying to intentionally do something that's funny. They're intentionally being fake. Satire is good. Oh, and I should mention, you might want to go out there and try to find examples of these type of fake news out there. Check around on the internet. Satire, they're kind of trying to do it intentional, maybe to embarrass people, maybe just for fun, humor. There's fake news, which really looks at extreme biases. In other words, I have an opinion, and my opinion's right, and your opinion's wrong because my opinion's right. And that can be classified in 2 different categories. So you could take a look at those. There's the famous conspiracy theories. People who have ideas about why something happened. 9/11 was a hoax. Or alien spacecraft have landed on Earth. Or, this is actually the coronavirus. You hear this in conspiracy theorists in China will say that the coronavirus was started in the U.S. and spread to China to try to undermine China's economy, whereas U.S. conspiracy theorists would say the coronavirus was developed in China with a secret underground lab in Wuhan, and it got free. Conspiracy theories are never up to no good. That's why they have a red serious effect. Rumor mills are kind of like conspiracy theories. This is your high school rumors, things that aren't really great. They have a high influence. Could have some fake, some not fake. State news, propaganda. We talked a little bit about that before. Developed by a state or by a political government or a political party to give a certain point of view. And then there's just straight up junk science, miracle cures. These are the pop-up ads you get on how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days, or how to get a 6-pack of abs, or how to get your perfect summer beach body, those type of things. Have to be careful of those because those can be often dangerous because they can often go against medical experts in the field. And then there's just straight up hate news, people who just want to promote racism, promote hate. Clickbait, they are all ad driven. You click on it, it takes a long time to load because there's a bunch of ads. Well, the truth is, for every time you click on it, they're getting like 1/10 of a cent. So if they can get a bunch of people to click, they're earning money. So something fun to try at home on your own is choose one of those categories. You may need to open up the presentation on Canvas and see if you could find an example of one of those categories on your own. Here's some Google searches that you might try, like examples of propaganda websites, or what are some clickbait websites. So see if you want to do that. It would be a fun little activity to do. Some resources for you. This is one of my favorite guys. His name is Glenn Weib. He talks a lot about skills to teach your students. He has 6 skills to teach. He says, first of all, don't let your emotions get involved. Be aware. He says always look back, always fact check, always ask yourself, does this sound right? And go do some extra research before you believe it. He says look up, where is it coming from? What are the sources? He says look sideways. Are you finding the same organization presenting similar things? Who's the author? Some more of that searching, get background information. Also look to see if it can be a rabbit hole circling back. Sometimes there's not a lot of background behind it, so it's kind of like going what they call a rabbit hole. You're always going down the rabbit hole, never getting to where you want to be. And definitely, if you see something, act out. I know on Facebook a lot of times I don't confront people, but I'll present a website where they can get the real information. Just this last week, people have been giving out misinformation about BYU Hawaii's response to coronavirus, and there's 12 students with coronavirus on campus. And instead of me saying, no, there's not, and kind of getting in a confrontation, I simply give them the website, BYU's statement about the coronavirus and how there's no confirmed cases and what will happen if there is a confirmed case. So act out. Don't be afraid to stand up and give accurate information. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, because we're coming up on 12 minutes here, is this game. This is a fun game. You should go play it. It's called Factitious. It is a fake news game, and then you notice they have COVID-19 articles. So you could choose your level here. I'm just going to start at a middle school level. I'm going to start at level 2 here. Swipe right if we think the article is real. Swipe left if we think it is fake. All right, so here's our first article. Spirit Airlines employees told students to flush emotional support hamster down the toilet. And in this game, you can read the article. You can use your skills looking back, checking the source out. Speaking about checking the source, here's the source for this article. Comes from Fox News. You could go online, but at some point you have to make a decision. Is this fake or real? I'm going to say this one's real. And it was real. I got 43 points. Here's the next one. Teen burglar woke up sleeping couple to ask for Wi-Fi access, police say. Once again, read the article, look at the source, CNN, and you get to decide. And if you're wrong, you don't get any points. So that's something interesting to try. That's kind of your introduction to fake news. So go out there and learn how to find it on the internet. Go play some games and maybe go do some internet searches. Check out some of those skills you can use. Go search for some different types of fake news and see what you can do to make that don't make it a better part of your life, but eliminate it from your life.